Hello, folks. Yes, I come to you live today from an Ocean City dwelling with the live studio audience. This is the first time we've done a HockeyBuzzCast with live studio audience, and my lovely niece, Bree. So who's also going to help us today with the show. I'm down in Ocean City, New Jersey, so we've got Bree, and Bree's going to stand in for Kevin Allen because, you know, this is not the first time you've stood in for Kevin.
I'll do my best.
In other situations. Yeah, so this should be okay. And yeah, so we're going to do the show, and we have lots to talk about, obviously. And folks, yes, I come to you live today from Ocean City.
If you want to hear that again, here it comes.
It's stuck in a time warp.
I know, now it's like
Lovely niece.
Stop it.
So who's also going to help us today on the show. I'm down in New Jersey, so we've got Bree, and Bree's going to stand in for Kevin Allen because, you know, this is not the first time you stood in for Kevin.
It wasn't funny when I did it.
We're going to do the end of the show first and then get to the beginning, right?
Now where we are. Yeah,
no, we're okay. We're okay.
High quality.
If you missed that audio, don't worry, you'll hear it again in 5 seconds.
Oh yeah. right. You could be stuck in that loop forever. Possibly. Okay, so I can't really. The table's a little unstable because we're on a group of on the kind of books you'd find at a shore house, like copies of
Greek philosophy.
Yeah, Greek philosophy, Hugo's Les Miserables.
Les Miserables, oh, that's great.
Right.
Yeah, so
Ernest Hemingway's Old Man of the Sea.
right, Daniel Steele's Second Chance, things like that, and Pachette's Run. We'll book discussion after the podcast today.
Like Oprah's Book Club? Okay.
Yes, yeah. All right, I got to tweet this out or else no one will watch. Actually, there's 15 people watching already. God bless you, folks. Thank you. But let me put this out on the Twitter real fast. And
yes, we're not going to talk about baseball today.
No.
Not at all.
Why? What happened? I'm sort of out of the loop.
A vastly inferior team swept the New York Yankees in New York.
Not true, and I'm even going to go one step further here. About 2 weeks ago, Mike contacted me and said, you know, there's a pitcher named R.A. Dickey. He used to be a Met, and he goes, you know, he's terrible. And I said, he's really not terrible. What are you talking about? And I went and looked up his numbers, and he went on a string of losses, and then I saw he was one of the worst pitchers in the league for run support. Meanwhile, in like the last 6 or 7 starts, he's won them all, and he's now beating the Yankees and helping them, you know, basically get first place in the American League East. And I kind of wonder what Mike's retort is to that.
Mike,
terrible.
Where's yours?
He's still terrible. He beat your team, so he can't be that terrible.
Well, that's. Hey, when they get 1 run in 3 games, I think you know. I mean, just they faced 2 of the most subpar pitchers in Major League Baseball, and Marco Estrada and R.A. Dickey, and they scored 1 run in 3 games. They got shut out by David Price, and David Price is one of the best in the game. But
right. That's the same David Price who you said they should never pick up because he never wins against the Yankees.
Well,
never Yankee
his ERA this year in New York was
I'll be back. You get a piece of pizza. I'll be right back. Just relax.
Okay. We're done. We're done. Go ahead.
And the Mets are in first place. That's all you need to know. Thank you.
Okay. And pigs fly.
This is the
no, I said we stopped. Come back.
I'm here.
So, Bree, what do you want to talk about? We're going to talk about the Jarret Stoll signing. What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, Bree likes the
No,
Jarret. What do you think of the Jarret Stoll signing?
I like, you know, Braden Chen. He's, you know, my
She's
favorite.
a huge Braden Chen fan.
That's your favorite? We talked about him a couple weeks ago. Did you feel that the second half of the season is what you're going to see now for the rest of the time with Braden Chen? Because he had a better second half than first half.
I sure hope so.
Heck, you have to eat a good-looking New York-style slice of pizza right in front of our faces.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying here. So this is okay.
He's holding it. He's not
This
going to before.
This is an iPad, so you know. So this is my piece of pizza. This is not like an iPod Touch. This is an iPad. This is the size, as you can see, of my head. Okay? Look up in the sky. It's Pizza Man. Anyway, all right. Entertaining the room. Sorry. Never eating here.
Mike, what do you think of the Jarret Stoll signing, and then I'll talk about it.
Well, are we gonna do the intro, Ek, or should we?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's do the intro. You got your mouth fully rusted right now.
Let me finish eating this pizza. I like the fact that Rush just went with it. and you were good.
You should have put garlic on that pizza, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Garlic powder? You like sprinkling garlic?
Garlic powder, never garlic salt. Pizza's salty enough.
But you can do this joke, Russ, that you often can say after that. Does it smell in here, or is it me? Yes. All right, we're gonna start the show.
I gotta get the rim shot ready.
What? No. What the heck date is it?
Monday, August 10th.
Thank you. I'm lost. The beach will do that to you. We just got off a dolphin watch.
Nice.
Yeah, so
What am I dolphin watching? That's nice.
yeah, it was really fun. We went out, we shot a couple, and came back. It was great. You know, there's plenty of dolphin to go around. If you guys are in the Ocean City area, you want to have some, we're making dolphin steaks. I'm just kidding. It was beautiful.
I know you're kidding.
They were beautiful, indeed. Okay, so I'm just bringing up my notes here. All right, here we go. All right, it's the. You just told me the date. I forgot.
Monday, August 10th.
Thanks. All right, thanks. Bree, you can go after Russ. Hello, Hockey World. It's Monday, August 10th, 2015.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
I'm Bree.
This is the pizza. And I am Eklund from HockeyBuzz.com, and you're watching the HockeyBuzzCast. This is the podcast that comes to you Monday through Friday, roughly around 1 o'clock. It's always 1 o'clock somewhere, as we like to say. It's 2 o'clock now, 1 o'clock somewhere in the Atlantic Maritimes, I think. But yeah, we discussed the goings on in the hockey world, and today I'm coming to you from the latter parts of vacation weekend. My boy and I stayed back today to go on a dolphin watch, and we appreciate the not too preachy dolphin watch that we went on about the fact that we're killing dolphins slowly, and whenever you go to see a dolphin in captivity, he's a slave. But besides that, it was good and fun. And yeah, but we got to get into some hockey talk right away because there's nothing bigger than Jarret Stoll signing with the New York Rangers, right? So let's we got today, so we can start right there. I mean, the other thing I wrote about yesterday we can talk about too, but let's start with Jarret Stoll. Now, not to get too out of crazy here, but when you're finished on the signings, Russ, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong. So continue. Can start.
To me, I kind of liken it to the Ryan Malone signing. You know, last year they brought in Malone, a guy who was a little down on his luck. People were hoping for the best. I wasn't. He got cut before the end of camp. I think Stoll can do a little better than that, but I really don't know where his head's at. I don't know if any of his lingering problems are still problems, and if they are, New York City is the worst place for him. But if he's totally okay, then I think he has a chance to make the club because they could use a fourth-line center that could win faceoffs because then they could put Dominic Moore on the third line. They could put Miller on the wing. It would improve their lineup. But I think the chances of that happening, even though they only paid him like $800,000, I still think it's like a 20% chance that it happens.
Yeah, this is a really low to no risk signing simply because of the $800,000 cap hit. Because if it doesn't work, they can send him down to Hartford, and it's not going to have any ramifications on the salary cap. I mean, I think Stoll is capable of still being a third, fourth line NHL center. He was a good checking center with LA. Does this mean that a Kevin Hayes or a Miller moves to the wing? Does it mean that well, not Glenn Sather anymore, but Jeff Gorton, moves a guy like Tanner Glass to open up a little cap space because Glass was making, I think, around $1.4 million or $1.5 million a year, so there would be a $600,000-$700,000 savings on the cap by moving one guy out and then shifting somebody else. I know that one person
who sent us care of $600,000. I know they're saving a lot of money.
Well, I mean, hey, when you're up against
when you're the Rangers, you're up against the cap space. It's a huge thing to do. I'm going to log back in because the internet at this place is not very good, and I'm going to go back on my hotspot, which will be better.
Okay. I know that one thing, Russ, that one person I saw online who was criticizing this was the fact that somebody like Oscar Lindbergh or some of the younger guys who might have a chance to make the team now have a less of a chance to make the team because of this signing if Stoll can still play. To me, the window of this team is 1 to 2 years to have a realistic chance of winning the Stanley Cup. So in a way, development be damned. They got to win now or, I think you lose your window with guys like Lundqvist and the veterans that they have on the team.
Yeah, Gordon's a development guy, but you're right. They're straddling that line between development and trying to stay Stanley Cup competitive. And so at the end of the day, look, Lindbergh's a decent player. We don't know what he is at the NHL level. So if they stunt his development a little, it's not like they're stunting one of their best prospects' development. It's just, hey, it's something that does happen. I don't think it's the greatest thing to happen, but we don't know that Stoll's going to make it, so I can't go crazy and say, hey, this is bad because for all we know, Lindbergh could still win the job.
Right,
I mean,
and I think that, and I think there'll be an opportunity there because, as we all know, there's always injuries. You know, if you lose somebody for a month, then a guy like Lindbergh is going to come up and probably, you know, fill a role, and he'll get a good look. And if he can actually play and he can actually, improve the depth of that roster, then they'll make room, or one of these more experienced guys who is not showing up will either get sent down or waived or whatever. So I think there's still some room there for maneuverability.
The most criticism that will come out of this will be based on whatever number he chooses, because that seems to be the thing the last couple of years. Anytime there's sort of like an outsider, a guy coming in on a tryout, when he chooses a number, everybody sort of looks up or remembers the number and says, how dare you take Walt Kachuk's number, or how dare you take, and it's like, and that's what will probably happen.
This is why you need Lou Lamoriello on your team, because Lou Lamoriello just, he could give away a number to anybody. He gave away a match number than a month after, So, yeah, I mean, Jarret Stoll is a good comparison, although I think Stoll's a better player now than, or I don't know, maybe not. But there's definitely been similar issues, unfortunately, going on with Stoll. And also, Jones apparently, who was moved out, it was part of that too. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on now. LA's been definitely cleaning up things. And speaking of which, the NHLPA has filed a grievance on behalf of our friend and colleague and fellow South Jerseyan at times, Mike Richards, who about what do we know about this, Mike? Because I was hunting dolphin when we started.
I mean, yes, the NHLPA filed a grievance. They filed a hastened grievance, so they want this to be determined quickly. This does not go to Gary Bettman for arbitration, but goes to a third-party arbitrator. And essentially, what is happening here is, we still don't know all the facts about what happened with Richards. We have accusations about the border crossing and prescription medication, but nothing has been officially mentioned or determined. But the Kings, during the buyout period, as we know, did not buy him out, but terminated the contract. And I think the PA's point of view here is it benefited the LA Kings financially to go the route of the termination, because the cap hit is in the 1.3 or 1.4 range for 5 years, whereas the traditional buyout would have been 10 years for a little more on average per year, but it peaks around, I think it was 2018, to almost $4 million. Yeah. So this was beneficial to the LA Kings from a financial point of view, and we don't know whether the reason was the evidence was there for them to, the option was there for them to do it, or this was just an opportunity too good to pass up, and that's what they took. So I think that this is going to be very interesting to see how it pans out.
The weird part is that it's listed as him still being under investigation. I mean, this is like trying to find the real killer when O.J. Simpson was in jail. This is a long time. I mean, what are we talking, like a month?
Mike Richards in the kitchen with the candlestick.
2 months. 2 months.
2 months. I mean, that's an awfully long time to still be under investigation. So I get what the PA is doing, because they probably thought at this point he'd be brought up on some sort of charges, and since he isn't, they're fighting for their guy. I mean, I get that.
Yeah, and the thing is right now is that we don't know whether some team out there has reached out to Mike Richards and might be interested in signing him to a 1-year contract. Until this thing is hanging over his head in a sense. If he's in a limbo situation where he can't sign with another team, and the thing is, it's fairly cloudy right now whether he's free to or not. If he's not free to, then it's sort of restraint of trade. They need to determine right now, within the next couple weeks, whether he is able, or whether his contract was terminated, whether it was a buyout, whether he's actually.
I can't seem to get is, and maybe Eck you've been looking at stuff before this all, before you went to the beach, even before that. Is he on an official NHL free agent list? Because at first I was told he was not.
Yes, I was told he was not too.
Okay.
I think that's where it is. We're also being joined by Veronica now behind us because we've been told that the women we have on the podcast, the better the ratings are. So
Oh, come on in, James.
we have Jaden back there too. Now, Luke, you've been the rating. You don't have the rating. Sorry.
Cast of thousands
but,
on the HockeyBuzzCast. There
yes. My question is on Mike Richards is, do we even know that he wants to play anymore? That's like the big. I mean, I heard some things. The only thing that I heard about Mike Richards were, I mean, like I said, he's matured a lot in the past few years. I had issues with him in Philly, but never in LA over the last few years. But I did think that I did hear, and I even heard some Flyers people say that they just didn't think that that he really wanted to play. That he really lost the passion to play hockey. Now, of course, everyone wants to make the money. So I mean, the money is there. Whether this is why teams aren't offering him contracts, not really why anything else. Like the feeling is he has lost his passion, and a lot of that has to do with the hit, that he has, the concussions he suffered and stuff like that. That really is just kind of taking his game away. So.
Well, I mean, and that's entirely possible, but I think the NHLPA is less concerned with his motivation of whether he wants to play or not. And is more concerned about the precedent than it sets. Now I know that there was I read an article about this situation with the NHLPA, and essentially what they're saying is they don't want to set the precedent of an NHL team being able to say this player is fat, so let's be able to cut him, or this player has a substance abuse problem, so let's cut him. It gives them an out on a contract which they shouldn't have an out. It's something, where there have been players in the past that have had substance abuse issues. There is a procedure in place between the NHL and the PA that they can take care of this. It's not an out. It doesn't affect the contract. In this instance, they took that option to terminate the contract rather than put him through the NHLPA substance abuse program, and it's clear from the outside viewer that was because of the cap ramifications of the 5 years remaining on his deal. So I think that will all be determined in this arbitration with the league.
Well, here's the thing: Forbes.com has mentioned that the substance was OxyContin, and they're citing the NHLPA's drug policy, which the NHL, agreed with. Yeah. And the most severe discipline for that is 1 year suspension without pay. And so I think at the end of the day, that's what they're bringing up to the Kings is, hey, look, however this shakes out, this is the worst that we're supposed to be able to do to somebody that has a substance abuse problem.
Right.
We're going to assume he has a problem. But that's...
like I said... Yeah, this is the case too. I really want to, before people go jumping down Mike Richards' throat about the substance issue, is what I really think has to be discussed at some point is the fact that these teams put these guys on drugs way too easily, and these guys, especially some of the addictive narcotics, there's a lot of players, I mean, that are addicted to narcotic drugs, like over the prescription narcotic drugs, that because they're playing pain. Yeah, right. They play. I mean, these guys who come in and play in pain, there's no question that. So whenever I hear a player getting stuck with something like this, I really worry because it just seems like who knows if it's his fault or not.
And let's stress that that's not unique to hockey. We're talking hockey, we're talking football, we're talking baseball, basketball. That can go across the board. That this this culture of
right.
providing painkillers to players to get them on the ice or get them on the court or on the field. That's part of the sports culture. And
it's funny because there is a policy in here that says if he is convicted, and he hasn't been, but if he was, he'd be placed in stage 2 of the program and suspended without pay until doctors can, look at him and go through the program. So it does seem like he's going to have to be willing to go through the program if there's a problem or if he wants to get paid. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, no, and players do go through the program all the time, and it's not. I mean, we've known players that have gone through the program, and often, more than not, it's just not made public, and that's fine. I don't think it has to be made public. I think it's a private thing.
That's the policy is to not make it public. Yeah.
Right, and I believe because I remember with the situation in Toronto with Carter Ashton and Brad Ross, 2 players who were suspended for 20 games for violating the performance-enhancing substance abuse rules, that a percentage of their cap hit was taken off of the Leafs salary cap. So that would mean that, and I believe it was $5.75 million that Richards was his salary was for the last 5 years of that deal. A percentage of that, if they determined that they couldn't terminate the contract and he's back on their books, that they wouldn't take the full $5.75 million cap hit, that it would probably be pushed off for a time period while he was in some treatment program. But the thing is, eventually, and what I said when this first came out, if they can't terminate the contract, then I think the league would probably let them retroactively buy out the contract. But that will have cap ramifications for the Kings. And with this and Slava Voinov on top of it, right now they're in a situation.
This is a slippery slope if they let them get out of this contract, and especially because, like I said, I mean, we don't know if it's Richards' fault. There's so much stuff here. Like I said, if the teams could really be blamed for these things too, I don't like that way that plays out. But let's move on. It's go ahead.
No, I'm saying it is a slippery slope. I mean, but it's one of those things now where at some point either the police have to say something, the Border Patrol, the Mounties, whoever, I guess it's the Mounties, and Mike Richards is going to have to come out and say something at some point, his lawyer or him, because again, he's been completely quiet about this. The way it seems like is, no matter what, even if the Kings are wrong, it's not like Mike Richards is automatically going to get paid. That's not going to be the case.
No, and in all these situations that we've talked about today, Stoll may have a suspension for his crime. He may have a suspension. We're still waiting on what's going to happen with Voinov once he gets out of jail, because he pleaded to a misdemeanor and he's currently in jail for I think it was 30 days. And Richards is still facing charges, so that's even further along. So we don't know.
That's right. On HockeyBuzzCast, we discussed the real fun stuff. It's a weird day. There's a lot. You're right. I mean, there's a lot of unknown issues right now.
Yeah, and the one thing I was going to say was that the league hasn't done what the NFL did last year and mistakenly did, which was jump ahead and right away pass judgment, like in the situation with Ray Rice, and then after the fact find out that the judgment was so off based on what the events were. They're waiting until they know exactly what's going on. They're waiting until like Voinov is out of jail before they put forth their penalty. And Stoll, I think he was charged with I think he pled to a misdemeanor. Now he's signed by another team. He may not be eligible to play until Christmas. The way things are going, who knows? But the NHL has not put down that suspension yet, if they will at all, and we'll see.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. I mean, I think the NHL's handled it pretty well so far, so we'll see. But I do think that there are some wars ahead. I mean, there's some wars ahead. The NHLPA is going to let this go down because they can't. They have to make known that if a team tries this, it's going to be difficult. That's what it cannot be easy. This Mike Richards thing can't go down easily, even if it was a clear cut. The NHLPA has to fight it a little bit at least.
Right.
They're
fighting it no matter what. That's true.
They have to. All right, the now is a name as a team as far as our possible. We don't know if they can run expansion. We don't know if we anything, and now we have a possibility of these. This is the definition of a slow news day, but we'll get out of this in a second. But they were the Black Knights we kept hearing, right, before, which was very I don't know, Game of Thrones-esque to me, which is kind of cool. Yeah, obviously don't watch the Game of Thrones, so I'm probably way wrong there. But but the Aces. So Aces is a good name. Gamblers. How about comps? The Las Vegas comp.
At this point, I don't think you want to have cops fighting on the ice. I think it's bad PR.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised.
Now,
I'm actually surprised that they put this up for a fan vote based on Bill Foley's comments that he made a while back. I mean, I think it was back in January when he was interviewed. I think it was by Elliot Friedman from Sportsnet, and said that the name of the team he wanted was the Las Vegas Black Knights, and he even named the ownership group the Black Knights LLC. So. I would be surprised if it's something. I don't think it's going to be gamblers because I don't think the NHL wants to go down that road.
No.
I could see aces or something like that.
This could work.
I think they don't want. The thing is, aces has a sort of gambling connotation.
Yeah, but I mean, aces is also in your vernacular, like, hey, everything came up aces, like things are good. I mean, it does have other meanings.
Yeah, and if you made it black aces, if you compromise between the two, those are a bunch of fifth liners. So that's what that team will be the next 5 or 6 years.
They won't call black aces. They won't call it that.
nothing.
But yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure where they're going to go with that. But I am a little surprised that they opened it up for public determination.
You have me at all? We good now?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh, okay, let me log in. I'm sorry, guys. I'll be back.
No problem. We'll talk about Stamkos here.
It's all right.
Okay. Eck posted something yesterday. I'm going to write about it later today regarding the status of Steven Stamkos, who is an unrestricted free agent at the end of next season. He's making, I believe, in the neighborhood. It's over $7 million on his current contract. More than likely, his representatives, and I think he's represented by Newport Sports, Don Meehan and those gentlemen, that he's going to be looking for Taves Kane money. He's going to be looking to make 8 figures, about over $10 million a year.
Right.
And Russ, as we said on a recent webcast, that's the dilemma for Tampa Bay for Steve Yzerman, is the fact that they want to keep him, or at least I think they want to keep him. They want to, they realize that he's the linchpin of that franchise. He's the franchise player, but they have a bunch of guys like Kucherov, like Palat, like Tyler Johnson, Killorn, Hedman. All contracts are going to be up in a year or two. They don't have many situations like Ben Bishop where they have an option, a cheaper option in Vasilevsky where they can save money. Most of the guys who are on that roster right now are going to cost more money for them to keep. So that's where X column came in and said that maybe there's a possibility that Stamkos could be on the move.
Yeah. Am I okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. This was like I said in the article, like we talked about many times, not what I wanted to write because I honestly, we mentioned the fact, how many times we talked about Stamkos, it's just, no, he's going to sign back. He's going to sign back in Tampa. He's going to sign back in Tampa. Of course he is, right? Well, it is interesting that the person I talked to who was trying to convince me of this, who knows the Tampa situation pretty well, said there is so much that has changed, so much of this has changed. And Tampa now isn't, Stamkos isn't he's still the best player on the team. I don't think there's any question about it. But he's not so dominant. He's not dominant, as my source said, by a power of 2. He's not that dominant to everybody on Tampa. And meanwhile,
point a game, his career. How many more?
He's a star, no question about it, right? So the question remains, though, and he's a popular player in Tampa. There's no question about that, too, right? But this is a franchise that had LeCavier and Richards and had issues with these kind of players getting to a certain point where they pay them contracts that were too much money for their, for their own good. They had to either buy out the contract or trade them. Stamkos is not. He would have definitely liked a different. Even though the team went to the Stanley Cup final, he would have liked a different season last year. Well.
And this is after reading what you wrote, Ak. I mean, what I first thought was Steve Yzerman comes out of the Detroit model,
right?
And the Detroit model, the big players on that team, even after Yzerman, Zetterberg, Datsuk, Lidstrom. They all took very reasonable contracts for their talent for where they were.
Right.
Lidstrom was making $6-7 million. Datsuk, Zetterberg making that type of amount. They didn't top out. They didn't want to be the highest paid guy in the league. Stamkos is more than likely, he sees Taves and Kane making over $10 million in Chicago, the team that they played in the Stanley Cup final. He wants to make that kind of money, and the thing is that may not fit with what Yzerman is looking for. I mean, he may want
Chicago. This is Tampa, and it's a very different scene there. And not that they're doing fine there. They got a big arena, but they're selling out, but they're not charging. They're charging $20 for tickets in some of the places in that arena. It's a very different scene.
All right, but if you're looking at goal scoring, I mean, Callahan had 24, Kucherov had 28, and Johnson had 29, and then Stamkos had 43. If you remove that 43, even if you get back a 30-goal scorer, that's an awful lot of goals they're going to have to make up because Callahan's not going to even score 24 goals every year. He's not that kind of player.
But you're paying Kucherov $900,000, a little under $900,000.
Yes.
How high can they go on Stamkos? I mean, can they go to $9 million a year?
Yeah, I think they're going to go to like 9 point something. Yeah.
Is that a good idea? I mean,
they were paying LeCavier more. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, no, they were. That was signed in a different era, though. A little bit, right?
Yeah, but what I believe, and this is where I think that the sort of crux of the situation is, especially last year in the playoffs when Stamkos was moved to the wing to play on a line with Filppula, who was playing up the middle. Steven Stamkos is a very proud player, and Steven Stamkos is a center. And
completely.
So I think, I don't know the dynamic, and I don't pretend to know the dynamic of John Cooper and Steven Stamkos. And honestly, I don't think that, that's going to allow Steve Yzerman to say, okay, I'm going to trade him because he doesn't get along with the coach. No, you're just going to have to learn to get along because he's your best player.
Cooper and Stamkos are really tight. They get along really well. That's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, I've never seen a problem, to be honest.
No, and I talked to Cooper, and Cooper really, really loves him.
But there are hints out there. There are hints out there of tension. I don't buy them. But what I do,
there were hints of tension. I think when he was in his scoring drought, Cooper would have been a lot tougher on him than he was. Stamkos was tough on himself. Cooper never said anything about it, and then Stamkos did end up coming through. And for a lousy playoff, he still had 18 points in 26 games, and he'll admit that was lousy, and he still ended up pretty strong.
Because he also actually, became a hit. His hitting was really important for them.
Right.
He became a really versatile player in the playoffs. Give him credit; he kind of reinvented himself,
Yeah.
Not that players who reinvent themselves don't get $9 million contracts.
No, but two things. First of all, if Stamkos wants to go to free agency, he has all the power in his hands. He's got a no-move clause. And, if he wanted to prevent Tampa from trading him at the deadline because they couldn't sign him, he could do that. He could say, I'm going to play out the year in Tampa and go on July 1st and do a Brad Richards type of thing where everybody goes to Newport Sports and visits his agent and visits him. And I know. I'm just saying he could do that. I don't think that that's going to happen. I believe he will sign with Tampa. But what I think is at work here is that a year or two down the road, because this team has a window with the players that they have right now under the deals that they have, with Tyler Johnson making $3.3 million, and Palat making $3.3 million. They have this window before these players start to cost them a ton. Yeah. And that's what I think Stamkos will stay through that window and try to win the Stanley Cup in the next couple years. But then when he's 27 or 28 years old, like Toronto did with Phil Kessel, at that point he's a guy who still has gas left in the tank, but maybe in the fourth, fifth, sixth year of this extension will start to be going downhill. That's when they will trade him. So I don't think this is going to happen this year. It's going to happen a few years down the road.
Let me give you a stat, though. So based on his last 7 years, or his only 7 years, sorry, here's the guys that he's compared to on Hockey Reference, okay? So Nell Stewart is next, Eric Lindros, Bill Cook. Bill Cook played for the Rangers. He was like the Rocket Richard for the younger people out there of the early era. This guy would score 24 goals, and the whole team would have 60. Evgeny Malkin, Teemu Selanne, Lemieux, Trottier, Howie Morenz, Mike Bossy, Sidney Crosby. That's the company he's in. How many of those guys get traded or get dealt on free agency? You know, like get pushed out to free agency. Very few.
No, very few. And I mean, there was no question this would be a major thing for it to happen. And but you know, as impossible as it was before, that's why I put plausible on there. You know, I'm not saying this is like a confirmed thing that's going to happen, but I do think that it is suddenly plausible because of what's happened in Toronto and because of what's happened in the Stamkos situation. It's definitely steered itself towards a possibility of it happening. Now, you're shaking your head, Mike. You don't think that what's happened in Toronto has led towards this?
No, and see, that's the other thing that I thought made me hesitant about this is because it will be impossible with a player of the quality of Steven Stamkos for the Maple Leafs to bottom out for a couple years and accumulate young prospects. You know, he will prevent them finishing in the bottom five. Now, they have assets right now that they could trade. You know, guys like Kadri, guys like Jake Gardiner, who in a deal, you know, if a team like Tampa Bay is resigned to the fact that they're going to lose Stamkos, would probably take talent back, take players like that. Mm-hmm. But I just don't see a fit there. So what I think is, while the Leafs reorganize their team for a couple years, move out the players that they want to move out, bring in the players they want to bring in, the capper to that is adding the big name, but not right now. Maybe a year, maybe 2 years from now.
It does go against the players sucking for a few years. I do agree with you. It does. It does. It definitely plays into, you know, they're not going to be as bad. But the more people they bring in with Lamoriello, I still can't think that they are going to suck. I don't think they're going to be able to go as bad as as people want them to be, or to get. I mean, that's another discussion. We'll have that discussion 100 times this summer. But that's, you know, that's kind of where this is. I think that if you're going to get Stamkos, you're going to have to put major players involved. This is a major trade, so it's not. You know, do they have the players? I mean, the players you mentioned, Kadri and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're going to have to trade Marner. They're not going to, you know, Marner will have to be in the deal. You can't get Stamkos and Marner be left behind. It won't happen.
And that's the thing. The Leafs are not going to trade Mitch Marner, an 18-year-old, William Nylander, a 19-year-old, Morgan Riley, a 21-year-old, 3 picks in the top 8 of 3 of the last 4 drafts. You know, when they're in a rebuilding program.
Some of them. I mean, don't you move one of those for Stamkos? I mean, that's a no-brainer in my opinion.
If Dave Nonis was your general manager, sure. With this group so focused on talent accumulation and rebuilding, not a chance. I mean, especially the fact that these guys. I mean, okay, Stamkos is one of the best players in the NHL. He's going to be making top dollar. You're going to be if, say, for example, Tampa Bay wants to make this deal in the next couple years, you're going to be trading Mitch Marner, who's a 4th pick overall, who, you know, we don't know if he's going to be a good player or a great player or whatever, but you're talking about trading a guy who's going to be making $900,000 for the first 3 years of his career. Where the Leafs have a chance to clear out all the dead money on their salary cap. All they're doing with Stamkos is taking on a $9 million cap hit for a player who right now is in his prime, but where the organization is to bring in prospects, and it doesn't make sense to bring in and occupy $9 million of cap space on a player who would be sitting on an island with nobody else around him, and that's what would happen right now. There's nobody else to help Steven Stamkos win in Toronto. 2-3 years down the line, yes, I think that'll happen, but right now it would be stupid to trade for Steven Stamkos.
That's fair, but there are other teams with very high prospects that would certainly be interested. I mean,
they're not the only team. No, but if it happens, it's going to be a lot of people involved, and a lot of teams want to get something done, and you know, it doesn't. For the first time, I don't know, maybe just the way it was argued to me, it really doesn't completely feel illogical to me that he could be moved. And that,
a 5% chance in my mind.
Yeah, I would put it at 20% and 80% he stays there. That's where I feel now, where I was at 1% a couple days ago. So.
Well, what we don't know and what we can't know is what Stamkos wants.
And right now, they haven't docked at all. Like I was heard they don't seem worried about that, and it's fine, But that is a little concerning. I think. I mean, just a little bit. I mean, this was something that
it went the same way with the Lundqvist talks, though. It did.
Yeah, and that's a good comparable because everyone assumed Lundqvist was going to stay too. But yeah, so that's a good comparable. Before we go, we do have to end the show relatively soon. The lovely women behind me are going to discuss a little bit something that's cool that teams do, and I know Russ, you've covered the trial on the aisle.
Right. I haven't covered it. I know about it. I actually have not gotten out there and gotten sunburn. No.
It's a cool thing, and a lot of teams do stuff like this. The Flyers did it this year, and you guys went, right?
Yeah.
And the gist of it is the rookies. Is it just rookies?
It's all the rookies, yeah.
I thought it used to be the whole team. Did the whole team used to do it too?
No, just rookies.
It's always been just rookies. Because isn't there something else where the team? Because they used to judge the team. And they have like a thing anyway. But anyway, it's basically like a mini Olympics type thing, or what do they do?
Yeah. They started out the day, on the beach, and they had like a team bonding thing going on, and then they went to the yacht club down in Stone Harbor, and they were on like these rafts, and then they went to the school over there, and they had an autograph session, and then they had a big volleyball tournament at the end. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool to see how these guys act around each other, and they had really cool camaraderie with each other. So.
I think the players like it a lot. I've heard that they say it's they're all competitors. I mean, you could throw tiddlywinks in front of them, and they would be competing at a high level for it.
I played against them in volleyball after they've done that, and I don't know how they do that. Like I would be like dead in the hospital, and they're playing anybody hard, but they play. Not only did they play the media, but they played other teams of themselves. I don't know how they had the energy.
You guys played? The media played them?
Yeah, like 2 years ago, the media played them. They did it a few times. I took part in it once. I almost took out Scott Lawton. Both went up at the net, and we simultaneously hit each other, and nobody got hurt or anything. But then the side judge went up to Lawton and asked if he was okay, and I'm like, what do you mean? This kid's 18 years old. Ask if I'm okay.
Right. You're a lot more scared. I'd be a lot more scared for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott Lawton tears his ACL bumping into some old guy.
That would really go over well with you in the press box, Russ, if that happens. They would love you forever if that happens. Can you imagine?
I couldn't imagine.
No, I mean that's just like it's all we can do to just like keep it from like you don't want to be responsible for anything with these players. And then now if you actually injured one, oh my gosh.
Sam Carchidi still talks about it. He laughs about it.
Man, yeah, I mean, they used to have like there were some times when they would actually play the media, and we played a couple. Russ and I played a couple media hockey games together that were fun.
Yep.
And they're a blast. I mean, they really are a blast. But apparently in the days before ours, they were really good ones where Canada used to play U.S. Oh, what happened?
So they worked it in the volleyball tournament was they had two Flyers paired with two fans, and they versed 2-on-4. So these two ladies, and I think it was Terrell Goulbourne. I don't know the other guy's name.
Okay.
But they were the group that won. So it was really cool to see some ladies out there, and they were really good.
Yeah. Oh, wow, so they got a chance.
Yeah.
What happened?
Goulbourne can play. He played in that same tournament that I was in because he's been in camp a few times. He's really good. Like he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be the Canadian media would challenge the U.S. media at All-Star games or during the finals, and we played a couple times. We didn't split up into Canada versus U.S.
I think we did that when I played in Carolina, and it was kind of odd because it was like the first big one I played in, and I'm not any good, right? You know me. I was
at that one. That was the first one I played in too.
Yeah, and Bruce Bennett was there, like taking pictures of it. And I'm like, oh no, why is Bruce Bennett here? And
Bruce Bennett's was like a world famous hockey photographer.
Right. So instantly I was like, uh-oh, this game is getting too big already for me. But it was okay. I mean, I put my minutes at the right times at the end of shifts.
I plan to challenge the Canadian media to a chicken wing eating contest.
There you go. Anytime. We'll take them on at any point. We'll all just take some drink of toast and we'll start this thing. I'm in, Jake.
Come on.
I had a person who complained to me about Take a Boost. I got an email with it. Yeah, someone's like, I ordered it up, and it cost too much money to get, it cost as much to ship it as it did. And I said, well, you're getting something that's only legal in a few counties. Really? Yeah, so but it's definitely been but it's funny. The drink-a-toast thing, we're out of it. And what I found out about that stuff is if you don't drink it right away, it gets really bad really quickly. And it can almost kill you. Like it becomes really acidic. It'll eat right through your car. It's like the Coke thing that it's very acidic. So it definitely.
That really sounds like something I want to put into my stomach.
With that, some mornings it's all you can do to get out of bed, Mike. And some mornings all I can do is if I take some Drink-a-Toast, I'm up and going and I'm at it, and there we go. It's definitely it's speed in liquid form. But yeah, I mean, we will definitely talk more about this tomorrow, and we're going to have more going on throughout the week. We have other stuff going down too. I did get a chance to watch some of the prospects game, Russ, I want to talk to you about too. I did have my opinions on Mitch Marner too, which we'll get to later in the week. I did get a chance to watch him. I was impressed by him. I was impressed to a degree. Although that Canada Czech game was intriguing. I was really, who was really good in that game, just as an aside, was the Czech goalie. He's like one of the I just can't remember his name. He's a predator. He's a predator prospect. He's like a 7th rounder or something like that that they got. He wasn't supposed to be very good, but he's had a couple good camps, I guess.
I mentioned it to Russ at the draft, and I got my first chance to see Tretiak's grandson playing for Russia in the first Russia-Canada game. And I was fairly impressed. I'm surprised that he was not selected. He was eligible for the entire draft. He did not get selected in even the 7th round. He went completely through the draft. Nobody picked him, and he'll be in the draft next year. And I'll bet you anything he'll be probably a higher pick than he would. This was an opportunity for somebody to get a prospect goaltender with a late pick, and nobody picked him. So
he was my 3rd ranked goalie in this draft.
No, he slipped through it.
I stand by that.
That's crazy. Well, guys, 58 days till the NHL season starts. So there's that. We're getting there. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. I want to thank all of my co-hosts here today, in Ocean City and in South Jersey and in Buffalo, and Kevin Allen, wherever you are. Thanks for blowing us off. Kevin will be back soon. Kevin will be back.
Watch out for the jellyfish, everybody.
Oh yeah. No, they were pretty good. We saw some good ones, big ones floating by on with the dolphin thing.
Are there peanut butter fish?
Wait, if you're on the boardwalk, this is one little word of warning, and you're a mascot on the boardwalk. Stay away from my mom. She beat the heck out of the yogurt guy the other day. There was apparently a controversy in. There's a frozen yogurt guy. Oh man! So what happened exactly? Tell the story.
Well, I was not there. Jaden was there, and apparently they went down to Ocean City for my sister's birthday, and I guess they were getting a picture with the yogurt guy, and I guess he was getting a little rough. And
what did the guy look like? What kind of costume?
A big.
It was like a big yogurt cup.
Like a big cup.
Like a drink
just
cup.
Arms sticking out of a big cup.
Yeah. So they were like, he was just like hugging him, I guess, real tight, and she thought he was trying to hurt him, and oh man.
And my mom punched the yogurt guy right there on the boardwalk.
Wow. That's
Third
like
man.
Sharky. That's like Theo Fleury punching Sharky.
I know. There you go. Third man in. I was never more impressed by our hockey family here.
Yeah.
You guys remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See you then.